fabrication methods like casting process, etc. Then you may have to remove material sometimes. So material removal processes are also there in the production processes. So various machinery are used for the purpose of material removal, for the purpose of shaping, for the purpose of getting required surface finish, and for the purpose of giving a particular size as per the dimensions. So you may have to use different types of machine, what we call this material removal methods, a particular type of operation. Okay, so this lathe machine is a frequently used machine, what we call this machinery for the purpose of various material removal processes performed on symmetric items. Okay, symmetric goods like cylindrical components. Mostly cylindrical components are uh, subjected to material removal processes on lathe machines. Okay. So first of all, what is this lathe machine? So let us just try to understand lathe machine, because Viva people might be asking you about the lathe machine. Viva means basically they ask about lathe machine, its applications, etc. If not parts, but at least applications, etc. So lathe machine has many parts. So you need not remember all parts. Only thing is its basic purpose and some basic parts if you remember, and what are the different operations. So that will be sufficient for you so that you can store easily. So now here, so first of all, basic definition of a lathe machine is lathe machine is a machine that uses a cutting tool for removing the material from the surface of a workpiece, which is held in the chuck for holding the workpiece, and feed was provided by the tool onto the workpiece for the removal of material. It is the most versatile, widely used machine in industries, institutions, etc. So remember here, basic thing what happens on the lathe machine is the tool post or the machining tool bit will be stationary, whereas the workpiece will be rotating against this particular tool bit. So when there is a contact between this tool bit and the rotating workpiece, naturally because of the sharpness of the tool bit and the hardness of the tool material, this particular surface material of the workpiece, which is coming into contact with this tool piece, gets removed here now. So this process of removing material is called as machining process. Okay. So basically, components made up of aluminum are machined. Components even made up of mild steel are also machined, and components made of high-speed steels are also machined. And different types of tool bits are used for different type of materials. The only thing is the tool bit material should be harder and stronger than the workpiece material. Otherwise, what happens? Tool bit gets corroded away instead of workpiece. Okay. Now on the lathe machine, what are the different types of operations which are performed or which may be performed? Just try to remember them as many as possible. So first one is called as facing operation. If you can just see here, the first one, left side top one. So there what you do is on the bottom part of the cylindrical workpiece, the facing operation is done. That is, the material is removed from the bottom circular part of the workpiece here now. So here you can just see the tool bit will be moving circumferentially or radially towards the
Sir,
center.
someone want to join, sir. Please accept them, sir.
Oh my god. I think this is some setting problem is there. Okay. Many people are there. I meet all. Okay. That's why I gave a lot of time. 12:20 to 12:30. Okay. So let us go back. So first one is facing. The face side will be machined here now. The face side is nothing but the top and bottom of a cylindrical component. Okay. So the tool bit will be moving towards the center radially. When it will start circumferentially, comes into contact with the rotating workpiece. Slowly the face material is removed while this tool bit is moving towards the center from the circumference. So that part is called as face. As such, it is called as facing operation. That's one operation. Okay. Next one is taper turning operation. Sometimes you may need circular components to be tapered in appearance so that they can assemble into the other component which is also tapered. Okay. Tapered in the sense it's if you move from say left to right or from one end to other end, its diameter keeps on changing. Okay, it goes on increasing or decreasing in a particular manner, in a linear manner in fact. Okay, so why? Because you may not always require what constant cross-sectional cylindrical components. Sometimes variable cross-sectional cylindrical components are also required. As such, the tapering operation is done and the tool bit is moved in a particular manner, a particular fashion at some particular calculated inclination against this particular workpiece. That is, this tool bit will be moving linearly against this particular workpiece from one end to other end. So it is adjusted in such a way that you will get the tapered cross section of this particular workpiece. So relatively the material will be removed in that particular fashion so that you will get a tapered surface finish. Okay. The next one what you can see is contour turning. So you can just find the curvature, what you call a particular curve shape on the surface of a cylindrical component. Sometimes it is required, like your door knobs. If you just see some of the door knobs, if you hold them and see, what you find is they'll have a contour, that is a wavy fashion. Okay, the surface is in a wavy fashion. So that also can be achieved by contour turning operation. By the proper adjustment and movement of the tool bit, you can get the wavy shape of the surface of the cylindrical. Remember, all of them are cylindrical components here. And then you can also see the D, that is form turning operation, where the tool bit itself will have the shape of the required surface, which is moved against, which is will be in contact with the rotating workpiece while the material is being removed. As such, the forming of the shape will take place onto the workpiece here. Then we have chamfering operation, where the edge of the cylindrical component is tapered or chamfered so that uh, you can avoid the damages which may take place because of the sharpness of the this circular edge of a particular cylindrical component. So the angle is given here, chamfered at an angle of something like 45 degrees, like that, for the purpose of safety. So the when these workers whoever are dealing with this particular type of components in machinery operations, they may get hurt here. Physical chances of physical hurting may take place if accidentally they come into contact with the rotating end of this particular type of a component. Okay, to avoid that, it is just chamfered here. Similarly, you may have to provide, or maybe sometimes a slot is required on a cylindrical component, maybe for matching with the other component. So slotting is created here. Again, you have a separate type of a tool bit available. So you can just see here a rectangular type of slot is created here. That is, over a particular length, the diameter is reduced. Okay, so this is called what? Slotting operation. Slot is created. So it is also called as cutoff also. Then you have very important threading operation. So cylindrical components may be having threads. Threading is required on some cylindrical components. So naturally, threading is also created here on the lathe machine. So this is a calculated feed rate and a particular type of a tool bit is used for the creation of the threadings on the cylindrical components. Say very huge size bolts are created sometimes. So bolts are required. Okay. So you can create a threading also. You can formulate a threading on the cylindrical component also by process of threading operation. One more person joined. Okay. Okay. Then you have the slide. Okay. Then you have the boring operation. Then just in boring operation, you require internal recess. That is, internal cylindrical machining has to be done here to create a hole here inside a cylindrical component. Okay. So that is internal machining is required here. So till now we have discussed, we have seen the only external machining. Sometimes you may have to do internal machining in a component. That is, you may have to create a cylindrical component and you may have to machine it to the required size or diameter. Okay. So here you can just see here the tool bit is totally different. So you can just see here, first a small drill hole is created on the component, and into that drill hole, this particular boring tool is introduced to gradually remove the material inside. So you are creating an internal diameter here, a hole with internal diameter. This taper diameter also can be created here. So maybe next month you'll be having offline laboratories So maybe weekly once or twice you will have this workshop, hopefully. So we can see the lathe machine available there in the laboratory, and also you may have to do some of the trade experiments as many as possible, and you can get a good idea here. Okay. So hopefully we'll be meeting first week of the September. Okay. So in the drilling operation, you can just see here a drill bit is used here now to create a hole inside the workpiece. So wherever internal holes are required of the component, you may have to go for drilling operation. So after drilling, you may go for boring operation also. Okay. Then knurling operation again is a superficial operation. So knurling is a process of creating a roughness deliberately on the surface of a cylindrical component. So you can just see here the shape of the roughness. It is a diamond cut or diamond shaped, and it is created by an external knurling tool which is very hard and which has the shape of this particular knurl which has to be generated on this particular component or which has to be imprinted onto the component. So this knurling tool is pressed against this particular workpiece with some force in such a way that when there is a rotation of this workpiece, this tool piece also rotates along with by impinging or creating dents onto this particular surface of the workpiece here. Okay, so like that we are creating a rough surface here now, dotted rough surface for the purpose. So mostly knurling is done for the purpose of grip, the exact grip on a workpiece here now. So you may find this knurling on many of the handles, tool bit handles, so that you can have a good grip of that particular tool bit here. Okay, that is knurling operation. KNURLING, knurling operation. So there are some of the operations which can be done on the lathe machine here. Okay, so you may not be having any lathe machine operation trade, but since we are discussing theory also, so it comes under the theory part of it. Okay, so you will just see the demo of the lathe machine if possible. So what are the, so generally people will ask you what are the different tell some of the parts of the lathe machine, or tell me the names of the some of the parts of the lathe machine. You need not remember all the parts, only some parts you can just remember, that will be sufficient. Okay, so like that we have a bed, lead screw, guideways. Prime mover is nothing but the motor which is used for the generation of the rotations. Okay, then you have a transmission system consisting of gears, different types of gears. You can have different gears, you can adjust different speeds on the lathe machine. Then you have a headstock, spindle, chuck. So all of this, if labeled on a lathe machine, you will understand. Okay, and then you have feed gearbox, thread chasing dial, split nut, carriage, slide base, saddle, compound dust, tool post, tailstock, and wheel. So you just try to remember only some of the important parts like lead screw, guideways, prime mover, transmission system, headstock, spindle, chuck, etc. Okay, feed gearbox also, tool post also. I mean, if you physically see, you'll get a good idea here. Okay, some names if you just remember, that will be sufficient. Not a big issue. Okay. So now the types of types of lathe machines. So there are many types of lathe machines. So some of the significant important types of lathe machines, 10 different types of lathe machines I have presented here. So one is engine lathe or center lathe machine. Second one is speed lathe. Third one is turret lathe. Then you have one called as capstan lathe machine. Then tool room lathe machine, which basically we use in the workshop. Then you have bench lathe machine, gap bed lathe machine, then hollow spindle lathe machine. So you can view all these type of lathe machines in the YouTube also. Okay, you can just see their operations. Very easily they are available. One thing is just try to remember some of the lathe machines of this all of the 10. So these are the different parts of a lathe machine. Okay, so a basic lathe machine, a tool room type of lathe machine will appear like this. Of course, nowadays the latest technology is CNC lathe machines. That is computer numerically controlled lathe machines are there, where you need not do manual operations or manual feeding, etc. So everything is automated there. The only thing is you have to give a program, you have to give steps, a code has to be given, that is what is required, that will be written in form of a code, and once that code is given, the machine itself will perform all the required operations like drilling, milling, what you call this boring operation, turning operation, taper turning operation, everything will be coded. right? And it is computer controlled. As such, it is called as CNC machine or CNC lathe machine. That also you'll see in some of the videos. Now in the basic lathe machine, you can just see here. Uh, so there is a feed gearbox here, which totally consists of gearings inside, where you can mesh different gears for different velocities. Just like your two-wheeler or four-wheeler has the gearbox, so here also it has a gearbox here for achieving the variable rotation or variable speeds here. Now there is a headstock here. You can just see levers here, and to the headstock you have a four-jaw chuck. Now this four-jaw chuck, you can just see one, two, three, four. Four jaws are there. So you can increase or decrease the size of holding capacity here. Holding capacity of the four-jaw chuck here. That is, you can mount any sized cylindrical component between these chucks here. You can adjust the gaps between the chucks. Okay, according to the diameter. That is, you can reduce the gap between them if you have smaller component, or simultaneously you can increase the holding diameter of these chucks here. Okay. So then you have a tool post here now on which the tool is fixed with a nut and bolt arrangement. You can fix a tool. So once fixed means tool will be stationary, whereas the chuck will be rotating with the workpiece. So that there will be relative motion between the rotating workpiece and the tool bit here now, and there will be a contact. So that results in the removal of the surface material of the workpiece here now. Then you have a cross slide where you can achieve the lateral movements like forward, backward movement, left and right movements, etc. of the tool post here now. Cross slide, it is called as cross slide here. Then you have a movable sleeve called as there's a sharp spindle which is just for now. This is called as dead center, and this chuck is called as a live center. So because this chuck will be rotating here now, whereas this tailstock will not be rotating. This is only for the purpose of gripping the workpiece. Okay. This is called as tailstock, and this body is called as bed here now, on which all these components are mounted. Then you have a saddle here, movable saddle. It is called as a saddle, and then you have a lead screw. This is important. So lead screw is responsible for the purpose of movement of this this total thing, movable thing is called as a carriage here. This carriage consists of the tool post, cross slide, etc. So this carriage will be moving in the forward and backward direction. And on top of this carriage, you can have the cross slide for the lateral movements, for all types of movements here, angular movements as well as linear forward, backward, left and right movements. Okay, so these are some of the names you can just remember. Leveling of the lathe machine. So this is a line diagram. It will give you some more clarity here. So lead screw is important here now. So you can just see this is the lead screw on which this carriage will be moving. So this carriage consists, on top of it you have cross slide and compound rest. Now this compound rest has a rotating wheel here, so that you can adjust in an angular manner. That is, the tool post can be the tool bit can be adjusted for some inclination, so that suppose you are required to make a taper turning, then this compound rest comes into picture. Okay, then you have the tailstock, which is called as what, dead center. Then this headstock, it is called as live center. That is, it will be powered by the motor, which is called as a prime mover here. So again, as you require different rotations, different speeds, so you have to go for a gearing system here. Okay, and this total setup will be mounted on legs, which are called as legs here now. The bed, the carriage, the movable carriage in the forward and backward direction on the lead screw here. So that is the just a theoretical explanation of the lathe machine. So now I'll just share you the downloaded videos which are already available, but still as part of curriculum I share them. Yeah, now not only CNC machine, CNC machine videos are also available. I don't know whether I have shown you earlier or not. Okay, let us start with the lathe machine. I think I have to recollect whether I have shown you earlier or not. Okay, let's just. Okay, just in a moment I will share. You can find these videos. They are freely and openly available in YouTube. Open with taking time. Okay, I will just share you. Are you able to see the video? Media player? Is it visible? Okay, I'll just give you the voiceover. I think voice is not audible here. So the total setup is mounted on pillars called as legs here now. The total machinery, the total load is taken by the legs here now. The left side and right side made up of cast iron. Okay, very hard type of material. And on top of these legs, you have the tray, which will support the total machinery here from one end to the other end. So on top of this tray, you will have the setup here now, which consists of a feed box, consists of gearing mechanism. Then you have a lead screw. This total rectangular thing, what is called as a bed here now. So bed is mounted on top of tray, and this bed consists of feed box, lead screw, feeding rod, which is used here now for the forward and lateral movement. This particular lead screw and the feeding rod is used for the carriage purpose. So on the top of feed box, you have the spindle speed selector adjustment, which is a headstock assembly, which consists of various levers for the adjustment, and there is a clutch mechanism also available here. So spindle speeds can be selected accordingly. You can change the levers here now, and it is totally powered by the prime mover, that is the motor. And the output of this total assembly is nothing but it is connected to this spindle, rotating spindle, which consists of 3 chucks to 4 chucks sometimes, in which the workpiece will be fixed here. So naturally the workpiece will be rotating as per your spindle speed here. Okay. So, remember this headstock assembly, the total thing here now, it is powered one. As such, it is called as a live center. Then you have the opposite one, it is a tailstock assembly, which is called as a dead center here now. So it does not move or does not rotate. Only thing is the sharp spindle, what you see here now, it is used for the purpose of supporting the workpiece. If the workpiece is too lengthy, so it will exactly align at the center of the workpiece here now, the sharp spindle, and the workpiece will be rotating, and accordingly the machine will be done on the circumference of the workpiece like this. Okay. So very rarely you may be having such a big sized workpiece where you may have to make use of the tailstock assembly here. So you can just, it is called as a dead center here. Okay, and live center. Then you have a hand wheel which can be operated manually. Thus you can increase or decrease this dead center movement in the forward and backward direction. So this dead center of this sharp spindle, what you see, it can move in the forward and backward direction as per your requirements, as per the hand wheel rotation here. If you rotate it clockwise, the spindle will come out, and if you rotate it in anti-clockwise direction, the spindle will go inside. So as per the length of the workpiece, you can control the movement of this spindle here by using the hand wheel here. And there is a ram clamp here for tightening and loosening removal of this what you call this spindle. Then you have the carriage, the actual carriage which will be moving on rails with the help of lead screw. So this carriage consists of the tool post, tool bit assembly. So you can just see here left side the gearing, how the gearing is provided in the gear housing. So gears are nothing but toothed wheels. So now carriage consists of a hand traversing wheel. There is a screw cutting lever also available, which is used for what you call this threading operations. This is saddle, which is mounted on top of the carriage. So on top of the saddle, you will have the cross slide, or the control of the movement of this cross slide in the forward, backward. I mean, the lateral movement, that's left and right. You can rotate this hand wheel so that you can have a relative motion of this tool bit against the workpiece as per your requirement. Forward, backward, front to back, etc. Then you have a compounders to create an inclination. of the tool bit with respect to the workpiece laterally. By rotating this compound rest, you can adjust the inclination of cutting. So there is a protractor available on top of the saddle and cross slide. You can adjust the angle of the tool bit against this axis of the workpiece. So there is a holding mechanism of tool bit called as tool post here. You can comfortably what call the insert the tool bit into the tool post and tighten it and remove it whenever it gets worn out. Screwing mechanism is also available there along with a lever holding mechanism. And there is an oil sump here because all are rotating components and moving parts. So naturally friction has to be avoided. So this lubricating oil is used and all that lubricating oil will get collected at the base by gravity in the oil sump. And there is a storage space also available in the left side leg. And then you can just put your all the required tool bits and chucks etc. and gears etc. and you can store them temporarily so that you need not charge them somewhere else. That is a basic type of manual type of a lathe machine here. So I will just post you the advanced one, that is CNC lathe machine. Just show you. Computer numerically controlled. So CNC means computer numerically controlled. So here you don't need manpower. Once program is given, tool is mounted, it will take care of all the operations. Only one operator may be required, and the speed of operation is terrific here. So you can manufacture a large number of components. Batch production can be achieved here. Mass production also can be achieved by having a number of CNC machines. So this working time is almost reduced to say 1/10. 10% of time you can complete the operations whatever you do on the manual lathe machine. Still manual lathe machine is used in so small lathe machine shops because the CNC machine cannot be afforded by all. Only large industries they can afford because of the expense. For small workshops, when you find roadside, they'll be making use of normal lathe machines. So here accuracy is also very good compared to manual lathe machines. You can just see a taper turning operation, placing, boring, and now threading operation is also being done within seconds. Whereas it will take minutes to hours on manual lathe machine. We have one miniature type of CNC machine in CAM laboratory, mechanical engineering department. Small sized CNC machine where drilling, milling, grinding operations can be performed. So it is safe also, it is closed in a glass container. You just see here a facing, then what you call this boring operation. This is boring operation. Create a cylindrical hole inside the workpiece with a threading externally. So you can just see and imagine in a very short span of time the operations are being performed. A lot of time gets saved here and high accuracy can be achieved. Hexagonal finishing is being created on the surface, which is not possible on your normal lathe machine. Again, you have to remove the component and take it to a milling center and create this type of shape. Whereas all operations, not only lathe operations, milling operations, grinding operations, all can be performed in a CNC machine. So this is a substitute for multiple machines. So all type of materials can be machined. Plastic and wooden components are also can be machined here in the CNC lathe machine. So you can just see one sample. You just see different types of tool bits mounted on a holder, rotating holder. As for the operations, the tool bit will be selected. That liquid what you see is nothing but a coolant to remove the heat generated because of the operations, because of the friction. If the heat is not recovered from time to time, there is chances of damage of tool bits. So this is a grinding operation. It's a grinding wheel. So in a single machine, all operations are performed. So coolant and acts as lubricant also. So in normal lathe machines also, we are provided with the coolant bottle which we have to spray manually sometimes, or sometimes connected, disconnected. This is grinding operation. The manual means you have to use a grinding machine. Separately, grinding machine is available apart from lathe machine. So on lathe machine, you cannot do grinding operation. You have to remove the workpiece from the lathe machine, shift it to the grinding machine, and perform the grinding operation. And sometimes you have to move it to the milling center, milling machine for this flat machining. So like that, you have to move the workpiece from machine to machine, which takes a lot of time. But whereas in CNC machine, all operations are performed on the workpiece, so a lot of time gets saved. So let's see. To show one more video and I'll stop it. Lathe machine 3D animation, let us see. Manual lathe machine operation. Because we have directly seen the CNC operation. So this is an animation actually. All the operations are performed manually in manual lathe machine. So first is facing operation, which produces flat surface at the bottom or top of a cylindrical workpiece. So that's the facing tool bit mounted on the tool post, and the rotating workpiece held in the chucks of the live center. So this is the facing operation. So by facing, you reduce the length of the workpiece. Remember, length of the workpiece is reduced. In turning operation, the diameter is reduced. Okay, a small formula you can remember. We are removing material superficially, circumferentially. It is turning operation from one end to other. So this is the common operation. Cylindrical turning, where you reduce the diameter of the workpiece. So feeding is like parallel to the axis of the workpiece. Then we have knurling operation. You can see double wheel knurling tool bits. You can have single wheel knurling tool bits also. Oh yes, sir.
Attendance, sir.
Yeah.
Heavy work, sir.
We can see the diamond shaped dents created in knurling operation. Roughness is created in that. So this is the grooving operation. Where we create grooves. It's called as a resisting or undercutting or necking also. Because they're creating a neck here, lesser diameter. Groove is used for mounting of a rubber O-ring, which you can see in the video. Rubber gasket. A drilling tool is introduced in the tailstock. So drill is stationary and the workpiece will be rotating. So you can make a hole. Reaming operation. The hole drilled the hole. I mean, the hole is already drilled by the drilling tool. Is not of good surface finish. So its surface finish and diameter is altered by using the reammer tool. So already drilled hole is required here for purpose of reamming. So inside the drilled hole, the reammer bit is introduced. So you can alter the diameter of the hole and the surface finish also. Boring operation. Then just see the tool bit there. Its positioning is totally different here. Like how you do on the superficial turning, the same turning is done internally. You can just see the relative contact between the tool bit and the workpiece with respect to hole. So internal, it is like internal turning. And gradually, hole diameter is increased here by material removal. So the movement of the tailstock is important here. So you can create stepped holes and enlarged holes, etc. There's parting off operation where you separate a piece of a workpiece totally. The shearing operation, you can just see here, parting off. I want to make small parts from a large length workpiece. So I can do the parting operation using a different type of PVC. See, you can have a piece getting separated. Okay. Okay. So I'll stop it here. So hopefully we'll be meeting maybe in next class. We may be meeting in offline mode. So I request all of you, please post your roll numbers in the chat box and you can exit for the lunch. Okay, just type in your roll number and you can exit.